there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marshall Sylver 999 Fine Silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marshall Sylver.
It's Marshall Sylver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
He's handsome. He's talented. He's amazing in every way, and he writes his own introductions. Yes, it's me, Marshall Sylver. Hey, welcome home, everybody. So glad to have you with me. We've got a very special guest on today's show. Excited to have you here. Excited to have her here. Dr. Shannon Sperber holds a Doctor of Physical Therapy degree. She's a heart map certified and is a licensed somatic release breathwork facilitator. Her passion is helping people clear mental and physical blockages using their breath so that they can show up as their true and authentic self with purpose, clarity, and alignment. The intention of every session that she does is to hold a safe space for each person so they can effectively release and experience a beautiful journey to remembering who they are. Isn't that the point? You've got to figure out who you were on the day that you were born and then live that life on purpose. Give a nice big Marshall Sylver welcome to our very special guest, Dr. Shannon Sperber. Welcome home. Glad you're here.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
It's been a while since I have seen you. We've both been extremely busy.
Yes.
I know that obviously you have had a lot of experience inside of the entrepreneur world, interacting with entrepreneurs. We were chatting right before we went on the air here that a lot of your work these days is dealing with entrepreneurs and the things that they go through. I don't think everybody understands this, except I was talking about it yesterday. I said 95% of the population wants to be led around by their noses by the other 5%. They want it. It's safer, doesn't require any responsibility. And then in the other 5%, that's where we live. That's where the entrepreneur exists.
Yeah.
It's the people that are willing to take that responsibility. So talk a bit first before we dive in about your journey, about where you are these days and, what you do.
Sure. So this whole breath work journey started back in about 2016, 2017. I was actually competing in bikini fitness. And after doing that, I got really sick with an autoimmune disease. And at first I thought it was because I had been competing and stressing my body out so much that maybe my hormones, were off. But come to find out, it really was just a cumulative effect of living this stressful entrepreneurial life, not only for myself, but with my husband at the time, Cody Sperber, building 8 different businesses, raising 2 kids, trying to keep it all together at home, and really putting everyone else's needs before my own. And my body spoke to me and I got sick. And it was like, I was forced to shut down. I was forced to slow down and figure out what really was going on. And at the root of it all, I had just become severely disconnected from myself. And so through this long healing journey of 2 years or so, I came back home. I reconnected back to myself, and I did a lot of that through breath work, but also just through nervous system regulation. And at the end of it, when I started feeling better, I thought, wow, if Cody could do this and his employees could do this and people in our masterminds could have access to this, how powerful that could be. And so I started doing it at our high level masterminds for all these entrepreneurs. I would offer it for free, and anyone that wanted to come could come. And at first, of course, it was just like the 5 brave souls that wanted to support me. But then word started traveling, and the classes got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, toward the end of the year, I had 100 to 150 entrepreneurs in there, wanting this experience so that they could regulate themselves and remember who they are ultimately.
And I think that that's what most people don't think about is who are they and does what they're doing actually align with what they want? You can
Right.
hear me, correct? I
Oh,
just
yeah.
fiddled with my buttons, want to make sure my buttons are proper.
No, I can hear you. And you said that word align, and that is the key. It's this alignment. And I always say that alignment brings velocity, because entrepreneurs are always so afraid to slow down because they feel like if I slow down, then I'm not going to be productive, or, I'm going to be more closed off. And it's like, no, when you actually slow down, brings alignment. And then that alignment brings velocity, which allows you to go further faster.
I was talking with Sir Richard Branson a few years ago,
Mhm.
and I asked him, "Do you have any regrets?"
Yeah.
And I expected him to say any number of things. I don't really know what I had expected him to say, but what he said was that he regrets doing all these life-threatening things that he had done, adventure things, trying to travel around the world in a hot air balloon or anything that would threaten his life like that. And he said, and it wasn't because of me. I don't regret it for me. I regret putting my family through that.
Sure.
And I get it. And the other day I was meditating and I was contemplating my life, and I don't have the same ideas I had when I was 30 or even 40. I
Right.
have the motivation to own the world and, be king of everything. I
Yes.
don't care anymore. All
Right.
I do is make sure that my wife and my kids are well provided for, that they're happy, and do the very best I can in this role.
Right.
Unlike myself, I didn't start having children until I was 49.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people, and yourself obviously included by how young you are and how mature your kids are, you guys started early on raising that family, digging into that life before you had any idea who
Yeah.
you were as a person, let alone could be as a family.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that quietness in the brain of saying, I don't need to be a billionaire. If I was a billionaire, I'd just give it to my wife and kids anyway. I don't care. All of my needs are met. I don't want a bigger car. I don't need more houses.
Right.
Um, so what are your thoughts? Why do entrepreneurs stress out so much and not just say, no, it's just a game. It happens to be the one I picked.
Right. Well, I think there's this high need for success in our society, right? And especially with social media, and everyone looks like they're doing bigger and better than you are. And so we again lose touch with what we really want because we're comparing and we're trying to be like so and so who's driving the Lamborghini or on the yacht in Miami. And so there's this constant like pull for these entrepreneurs. It's like, well, yes, I have this family, but I want this lifestyle, or I want to look like this, or, be traveling in all these places. And so I think they're constantly searching outside of themselves. And that can be really unhealthy and really taxing on our system and our body as a whole. And so getting back to that nervous system regulation and learning how to regulate yourself so that, yes, we can have all these nice things, but our body and our health needs to come first. And
Without a doubt.
yeah, and they don't put it first. And sometimes I've lived that life. Sometimes, that moment in time it can't come first. It's like we're scaling this business, we're building this business. Like, this is what we need to focus on. Like, I don't live in this like altered reality. Like, I know that it is stressful, and oftentimes like we have to push through. But then it's like there needs to be some sort of recovery period. It's no different than working out. I say that all the time. It's like when we work out, we get sore, we give our body a rest day. Well, it's no different if we're stressing our system. We need to give our body a rest day, and entrepreneurs typically do not do that.
Well, and that's a great metaphor and analogy, because if you don't give yourself that rest day, all of your efforts on that day you worked out hard are diminished.
Right.
You don't get the same result you would get if you had just rested those muscles.
Right.
And again, my whole thing is stress is an option. It really is. It's a choice. Some people handle one thing and they feel no stress. Some people handle the same exact thing and it's overwhelming. Some people handle the same exact thing and not only is there no stress, it's euphoric. They
Right.
love it. People ask me, do you get nervous before you get on stage? And my response is, I feel exactly what you feel, except I don't call it the same thing.
Right.
And when they ask me, what do you mean? I say, you call it anxiety. You're nervous about getting on stage. Your heart starts beating faster. Your breathing goes short and swift. And I said, before I get on stage, I have the exact same experience. Whereas you think you're afraid to get on stage, all my mind is thinking is all I want to do is a great job. I really want to do a great job because these people deserve it. And so we have the same experience, but I welcome it. I want more of it. There's no place I'm happier than being on stage. Well, there's one place, and it's dark there, by the way. But
Yeah.
the thing for me is that I don't think people realize what the human condition is either. Fortunately for me, I was born dirt poor. I became very rich, then became poor again, married the wrong person, then became very rich again, then made some really foolish mistakes and became poor again. I was afraid I was going to lose the love of my life, but she said, no, I'm not going anywhere. We can live in a studio apartment. I don't care about the money. And then I got very rich again, and thank God she's still here. And for me, I think that's part of what's happened. Is being I turned level 62 on Sunday. And
Amazing. Happy
one of the
birthday.
things, yeah, thank you. One of the things that, I believe everybody comes to realize is that everything is temporary, and that no matter how rich we want to be, that it could all go away tomorrow. So you might as well surrender and not be stressed about it and learn how to be happy regardless of what happens. Otherwise, you will die early. You'll have a heart attack on that path to what you thought would make you happy, and you never get there. So tell me, what makes you happy? Obviously, I've been to events where you've been there. You're amazing. I have a massive respect for men or women. It's primarily women. I have a massive respect for people that raise kids and also are breadwinners.
Yeah.
My relationship with Erica, I'm the breadwinner. She didn't have to worry about money. But ultimately, at the end of the day, she's responsible for making sure the kids are handled. I take care of it. I'm not absentee by any means, but
Right.
she's the primary caregiver and shouldn't have to worry about money. So what you described, you being a part of the business and you being involved with all of that and raising the kids and making sure that the marriage is working out, and because that's 3 full-time jobs.
It is, absolutely. Which is why my system shut down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I want to touch on a couple things. To answer your question, what makes me happy? There's the obvious answers as my family and my children. But serving others. I find that especially through this work, I have really discovered there's just so much fulfillment in servitude and helping people remember who they are and reconnect to themselves, and hearing the follow-up the next day of how that session impacted them, because I'm not doing anything. I'm holding the safe space and they're doing all the work, but witnessing that transformation, it makes me very, very happy. But to kind of rewind on what you were talking about, of perceived stress, it's true for trauma too, right? So something is traumatic only if you perceive it as traumatic. But I think people struggle with finding happy, and people struggle with that because there's something in the way. There's something blocking that happiness. And oftentimes that lives in that subconscious brain of those self-limiting beliefs. And so that's another reason why I love the work that I do, because we're able to enter that subconscious and start rewiring those neural pathways and removing all that junk, right? It's emotional constipation is what I call it. Removing all of that junk that's in the way of feeling that happy. Because ultimately, you're right. That's what we want. We all want to be happy. We all want to feel peace. I ask everyone at the beginning of a session what their intention is. And it's amazing to me how many people say the same thing, right? They want happiness. They want peace. They want calm. They want prosperity. They want freedom. It's like we're all human. We all want the same things, but our life and our perceived stress, our perceived trauma has created these blockages that are preventing us from feeling that fully.
And I think part of the challenge is human beings are motion junkies. And
Yes.
because we're motion junkies, if we don't have motion in our lives, we create motion.
Mhm.
And if the motion isn't something that tasks us, makes us go for more, then often the emotion is a wrench in the gears that crashes our lives and says, "Oh my God, I need to take care of this."
Right.
And I think that that is the biggest challenge for people is again, there's only two emotions. There's love and there's fear. And
Mhm.
we're either expanding or we're contracting in any given moment. I know through your breath work, this is
Mhm.
what you live, this is what you teach. But I
Yes.
think the piece that most people don't realize is that every experience we have, everything is self-created.
Mhm.
And surely, there's it's tough sometimes to find the perfection in something, to find something, like a divorce or a death or a sickness or a financial setback. It's sometimes difficult to say to God, what's perfect about this, God? How is this helping the design of my life? And then come away with the answer. But ultimately, they say if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan for your life.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. I could never imagine that I would be here. On the way down, I was very excited to talk to you because number one, I admire you. I've always had the greatest respect for both you and Cody. We don't know each other really well, but I've always admired what I just described, and that was a working mom taking care of her kids, taking care of her husband, taking care of herself, all those things. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And so when I look at how the world is, one of the things that's been the piece for me, I had open heart surgery a couple of years ago, and it wasn't due to stress. I've never been a stressed guy. I'm a happy guy. My father, though, had massive amounts of heart challenges. And as you know, psychosomatically,
Yeah.
that psychosomatic nature of our mind creates that dis-ease in our body. That's what your body was doing. It was
Yes.
shutting down because it was overwhelmed and there was no words that you could say that would stop the madness.
Yes.
And so you're the wrench in the gear is that. Do you think entrepreneurs overall believe that their life will be less or more stressed when they own their own life, when they own their own business?
Oh, I think they think it'll be less stressful. I think
That's what they
that
think, isn't it?
yeah, that's the entrepreneurial dream, right? It's like, I'm going to own this business and I'm going to have all these things and all this money and I'm going to do it whatever I want. And you don't realize what comes with that are all the employees and all of their things and all of their stress and, being
And if you buy a
responsible.
nice car, the tire for the car is 1,500
Oh,
bucks.
it's always something. It's
And
always something.
if you have a worker, tell me if this isn't true. If you have a vendor, a worker, someone to come out and work on your house, whether it's the roof or the AC or whatever, you get them to quote you before they come to the house. Because the
Absolutely.
moment they come to the house, you see the dollar signs in their eyes and you
Oh,
know they
yeah.
just tripled their bid.
Yep, it happens every time. My garage door just broke, and to replace the garage door, it was like $10,000. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
No,
And
no."
now you're kicking yourself going, I should have been in the garage door business.
Right? Yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, yes. But, I
So
think
entrepreneurs, they think that it's going to be less stress. I'm not going to work for somebody else. I'm going to own my own life. But
right.
owning something comes with responsibility. And I
Yes.
think that's the part that most people don't want. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting it. The world needs people to not want it, actually.
Right.
I need people to not want
Right.
to own their
Exactly.
own life. I think that it's all to a degree too. I think that, no risk, no goodies. You take someone like an Elon Musk, who
Mhm.
is completely 1,000% married to his businesses. And that's why he doesn't have a marriage. He's married to his businesses. You
Yeah.
take a look at other workaholics, at least in my opinion, somebody like a David Copperfield, the magician, who is on stage 340 days a year, or other people that are massively busy. I don't care what they say. I
Mhm.
know from personal experience, their marriage suffers for the amount of energy they put into the other part of their life.
Absolutely. I mean, we can tap on that. I'm sure you know Cody and I got divorced last year, and we are still very, very close, very good
I was going
friends.
to ask about that. I love
Yeah.
that. That's because
Yeah.
just because people realize it doesn't fit one way doesn't mean they don't think they're great people. He
Right.
said the very same thing about you. He said, Shannon's amazing. She's the
Yeah.
best woman I've ever known.
Yeah. Yeah. I love him and adore him. However, we both take accountability for like what you just said. When you're growing these businesses, if the business comes first and your marriage does not, the marriage will likely fall apart. And so that's what happened. And he describes it perfectly. We were together for 18 years, and he says, every year we became 1 degree apart. And then, 18, 20 years, you're 20 degrees apart, and you just are. And you're still best friends, and you're still running the family, and you're still doing all of the things that need to be done for the business. But yet your marriage isn't what it was when it started. And so I do believe there's a lot of truth to that.
I couldn't exist if Erica didn't handle the things that she handles.
Yeah.
She our deal's real simple. She takes care of me and
Yeah.
I take care of everything. And
Yes.
and that's the deal, but it's a more than fair deal as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how she feels about it. I think she feels good about it.
He
But
would
for
let you
me,
know.
I would think that. You would
Yeah.
think that. Um, she makes sure that my latte is made. She makes sure that I took my supplements and, any meds that I need to take that day. She makes sure that I remember this person's birthday or that experience, or did you realize this was going on, or your kid, our kid has this happening. So
Right.
she makes sure that if the house managers need to be redirected, they're redirected. She handles all of that. So
Good.
I don't stress. So I don't think about it. I don't talk to her about any financial challenges inside the company or any big, I'll tell her, yeah, with that account canceled or we didn't land that event or whatever, but I don't want her burdened with that. And I don't frankly want to be burdened by the minutia either.
Right.
And it's a partnership. And I think that that's the biggest challenge for people is, I have 4 brothers and 6 sisters.
Mhm.
And sometimes I don't think men and women realize it's a deal. It's a bargain. You have an arrangement. You have agreements, and the
Mhm.
stronger the agreements, the easier the relationship is going to be. And since no two relationships are the same, no agreements can be the same. Nobody can tell you make this agreement, your relationship will be better. No, Erica's 24 years younger than me, and because of that, we have very different worldviews.
Yeah.
And again, as we mature, my belief is that we become, if we're smart and healthy, more peaceful. So
Mhm.
how has the Shannon today changed from the Shannon from 5 years ago when you were in a stressful place and knowing a transition was probably going to happen? How are you
Mhm.
different today?
Yeah, I have tried to reflect on that and learn and do things differently in my next relationship. I think being more present in the relationship, putting the relationship first. Um, I've also really focused on being my best self and showing up fully as my best self, knowing that I'm here as the best Shannon that I can be, and it's like that's what I have to offer, and I know that my partner feels the same way, and he shows up as his best self, and that seems to work really well for us. Um, Other ways that I've changed would probably focusing more on fun. In Cody and I's relationship, it was so stressful, and there was so much going on that we didn't make as much time for fun. And so I really have been focusing on having more fun and finding that like playful Shannon again, and that goes back to remembering who you are. We come out full of play and happy and giggling. And it's like, how do you get back to that childlike self as an adult? So I've really been tapping into that, which has been awesome.
I think it's downsizing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Simplifying,
it really is. Again,
simplifying.
it's there was a time when I wanted to be a multi-billionaire,
Yeah.
and I realized that what is the point? The higher the levels, the higher the devils.
Yeah.
I have square footage in our homes I don't ever walk into.
Right.
I have cars that haven't been driven in a year. So what's the point in having all of that stuff?
Yeah.
And I think just everything changes. Your kids are teens these days. What are
Mhm.
they into? I saw your eyes,
Hudson,
by the way, get very big.
yeah, the teenage, it's different. It is so different. I mean, I love
Carolyn
every
turns 13 on tomorrow. So yeah, I'm
oh,
excited to find out about it.
yeah, the Hudson is 15. And so now, he
And what a
wants to,
great kid he is too.
he is a great kid. He's wild, but he's fun and he is into ROTC. So he's doing junior ROTC. He wants to go into the Air Force.
I love it.
And now he's obsessed with driving. So we practice driving every day.
So does he
Um,
have his license yet?
No, no, but he's 15, so he gets his permit soon. So we just go through the neighborhood, and I pray that we don't crash into anything.
Yeah, but are you driving a McLaren or a Rolls
Well,
Royce?
I'm not gonna lie. Cody had him drive the Lambo last week, and I about died.
No
Um,
kidding.
yes, but no, I've got my little SUV that he practices in, and
Good. Nice
um,
airbags. That's what I
yeah,
want.
exactly. It's safe, it's big, yeah. But he's a great kid. And Bryn, my daughter, is 13 and she's a competitive all-star cheerleader and she's on a world's team. And so that is a year-round sport. They literally get 2 weeks off. And so we live and breathe cheer and it's awesome. I love it.
Isn't it fascinating that you get into what your kids get into?
Oh, yeah, I never thought I'd be a cheer mom. I was a soccer player. Neither one of my kids wanted to play soccer, and I was heartbroken. But gosh, she took on to cheer. She was probably 5 years old, and I could tell there was just a lot of talent there. And so I'm like, dang it, I need to like support this. And so it's been awesome. Yeah, I love it.
I don't play a musical instrument, and all 3 of my kids play multiple instruments, and they're
Right.
really good, and
Wow.
so I'll sit in the living room or they're in the den and they're playing, and it just warms me. Last night, my son Maximus was playing the electric guitar. He's 11 years old, and he has a, little yellow bird named Pineapple. It's about the size of a parakeet. It's a parrotlet, and the parrotlet was sitting on his shoulder while he was playing. It looked just like Linus and Woodstock. It looked just like that. And it was just amazing. I've never been a fan of baseball, could care less about baseball.
Um,
My son decided he loved baseball, and now suddenly I love baseball
You
too.
love baseball. Yep.
I do, because that's the way it works. And
That
I
is
keep
so good.
encouraging my kids to want to be bankers, but I
Okay.
think they're going to end up as public speakers or
Ooh,
probably professional athletes or something like that.
I could see
What
that.
what have you taught? And obviously they're turning out great. They're both committed. They both have paths. What have you taught them as a parent about values in life? What do you think it's important
Mm.
for kids to know?
Gosh, that's a tough question because it's a slow process. It's a slow burn of like teaching them over time and just praying that you're instilling good value. Um, for Hudson, I really think it was taking accountability. So my little Huddy Buddy was a very naughty boy. And
Hopefully he's not watching this because I know at 15 years
oh,
old,
he knows.
you
He
call him Honey
knows.
Buddy still?
Yes. And the principal and I were very good friends at every single school that he ever went to. And I always tried to teach him to take accountability because he would get in trouble. I would get the phone call. I would come down to the office and then it was, nope, I didn't do that. No, that wasn't me, and it's little Dennis the Menace things. It was nothing ever serious, but he would go into the gymnasium and switch off all the lights. while the class is going, like little things like that. And so, yes, teaching them to have accountability, teaching them to be courageous, teaching them to be honest. Again, yesterday, I got an email from a teacher with my daughter, which I have never gotten anything from a teacher with my daughter, saying that she thought that she was cheating on a test. And I asked Brinley about it, and she denied it. No, I wasn't. We were just talking. And again, you have to have that conversation of how important it is to be honest, because the consequences are going to be far greater if you're not honest. And so we would always tell them, if you tell the truth, you will not get in trouble. However, if you lie and then later down the road we find out the truth, you will get in trouble. And so honesty has been a big thing in our household. Yeah, those are probably the main ones that we deal with on a daily basis. I will say, in high school, Hudson has made a complete 180, which is amazing. I don't even know the principal. I don't even know who it is. So it's a miracle. Miracles happen, guys, and they eventually grow up. I promise. If anyone has any ADHD, OCD kiddos that are highly gifted, I promise it gets easier.
Well, don't you think that goes with the program too? That entrepreneurs tend to raise gifted ADD and ADHD kids?
Yes, and
Because
it
I
was
am. Because isn't that the core of entrepreneurship?
100%. And I know he will rule the day. One of these days, it will serve him. But
Yes.
as a parent, as a mom raising a child like that, it literally is the hardest thing I've ever done.
But your daughter is a mini you, isn't she?
She's a mini me. Yeah.
And Hudson is a mini
A
Cody.
mini Cody. Yes.
100%.
Yes.
And so that's the other thing that's occurred to me as a parent, is how much everything I do is echoed and amplified.
Yeah.
That they see what we do. I quit drinking alcohol last July, and
Good for you.
the biggest reason was the kids. And I just
Mhm.
said I've had enough. I certainly haven't. I'm not going to miss out on anything. I already drank my fair share. I drank it all.
Right.
And
Yes.
and the bigger thing though was my kids repeatedly have said, "Dad, we wish you didn't drink." And I was
Wow.
never mean. That wasn't my nature. But I knew what they were saying. They wanted me to live a little longer.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I'm happy for it. And we're coming up here on almost a year, and I'm feeling phenomenal. It's one of the best decisions of my life.
That's
But
amazing.
the thing is though, is I think kids do amplify whatever traits you have, both the good ones and the bad ones.
Mhm.
And I think that watching my kids, prosperity is constantly launching a new business. Yesterday she sends me a video that she fully edited and put everything into, of her new doll spa. What's a doll spa? It's a place where her friends can bring their dolls, and she'll do their hair and nails and makeup and clothes for the
That's
dolls.
awesome. That's
And I
awesome.
thought, that's just creative. She
Right?
had all the brochures and signage and pricing and everything done. It was just amazing. And
How
she's
old is
9.
she? 9. Wow. She's already thinking like an entrepreneur. I love
She
it.
launched her first business at 7.
Oh, that's incredible.
So
Yeah.
tell me, where are you going from here? Obviously, you're doing the emotional work and the breath work and the physical
Mhm.
work with your clients.
Mhm.
Where are you going from here? You've taken some time. You're resting. Full-time mom. Kick back. Fall into that role. I know
Yeah.
you got more romance. You got new romance in your life, so
We've
that
got
looks
a
like it's
new
good.
romance. Yeah. So there's a couple things. I mean, like you said, Hudson's just finishing his freshman year in high school. So once you start realizing these days are long, but the time goes fast. I only have 3 years left with him here at home. And so I have been trying to kind of slow down and be, like I said, more present. And spending as much time with them as I can. I do have a new boyfriend, and he owns a boutique gym out here.
Doesn't he have a shaved head?
You know what he did, Marshall, but I made him grow his hair out.
Yeah.
He had a shaved head, and then I realized that he could grow hair, and I said, "Can we grow the hair, and then once you lose the hair, then we'll shave it?" So yeah. But yeah, he owns a boutique gym out here in Gilbert, Arizona, and I have always been in the fitness space. So I'm starting to dive into that business a little bit and helping scale that. And then breath work is still, a big part of my life. And I host local events here once a month, actually at the Clever Investor Event Center. And then I travel.
And how many people show up?
So here locally, anywhere from 15 to 30, kind of just
Cool.
depends on the day. And then
And what does that class look like?
so it's an hour long. The first 30 minutes is very intense. You're breathing in and out of your mouth the whole entire time. And then the last 30 minutes, we kind of start bringing the nervous system back down and we switch to in, nose, out, mouth. But it's a journey. I mean, it's definitely an intense journey. I'd like to joke and say it's about 7 years of therapy in an hour. So we go in deep and we feel things we haven't felt in a very long time. And people, they either leave there going, what the heck just happened? Or, wow, I feel amazing. When is the next one?
That's kind of the way.
What's that?
It's kind of the way. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know how good you can feel until you feel really, really good. It's the same. People that have never made a large amount of money, and every entrepreneur that's ever had a windfall where suddenly they figured out the combination to the safe will tell you they kick themselves going, why the heck didn't I notice this before?
Yes.
And it's the same thing inside relationship. It's the same thing inside of health, physical health, mental health for sure. Yeah, I'm happy. I choose to be happy, even in the face of things going sideways. I do my very best to say, this is temporary. Be cool about it. You're going to get through this. This is just a bump in the road. And there's so many people that don't,
Oh,
that
yeah.
just make a big deal about every freaking thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, they
they're
don't
not going to be
understand that
around.
everything's happening for them. It really is. The universe is always working for you.
Yes.
And unfortunately, people don't look at it that way. But that simple mindset shift of things are happening for me, even shitty things like divorce, it's like, that was awful. I would never wish that upon anyone. However, I always had the mindset of this has to be happening for me. Like this cannot be because things are going to be getting worse. It has to be because things are going to be getting better. And because
How old were you when you guys got married?
Oh gosh, we met at 24, married at 28.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, and you guys were married, you said 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
Part of what I believe to be true, and 1,000%, I was married twice before my one true wife.
Okay.
And there is zero doubt in my mind, Erica and I would not be together today if I had not been married twice before. Wouldn't be happening.
Yes.
And we wouldn't be nearly as happy. I know I likely would have been the one to be more petty, and that would have set off every negative reaction in her for sure.
Right.
Because I've been in 2 marriages. The first one was just meh. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. We were friends, but we weren't suitable for each other. Just weren't. The second one was massive drama, and every bad thing that could be in a relationship was there. It was horrible. And now, though, when little things come up with Erica, my brain just says, no big deal. Not a big deal. I'm okay with this. If this is what I got to put up with, I'm cool. I'm good.
You have learned to pick your battles.
Yeah. And I think that's true with everything. And I think that's the mature thing for all of us. And that's the thing that I wanted to encourage you. And even, if Cody was here, I also encouraged him that anybody going through a transition in a relationship, as long as we learn.
Yes.
As long as we say, just like, we were talking about a moment ago, the business is how we eat. It's how, all of us thrive and get to go to, gymnastics and jujitsu and baseball and all that. It handles everything, but it's not the primary point of our lives. The primary point of my life is my wife first, then my kids, and then my work. They all know, though, that work takes care of all of us, so they give me the freedom to do that. And I think that's that inclusiveness that a lot of times people don't get, that they don't figure out a way to be in this together.
Right.
You know, you already were talking about, and I love it because it's you. It's who you are. You were talking about your new guy, and you know, I'm doing my thing. I've always been into fitness, so not a surprise that you're, you know, now with a guy that has a gym and a fitness program.
Mhm.
But you also said, so we're focused on, you know, helping that grow.
Mhm.
One of the things that I admire again about you, and it's exactly what Erica is she's my teammate,
Yes.
and she says, how do I make Marshall's life easier? How do I ask him, what do you need? How can I take care of you? You know, would you like attention? Would you like a massage? Would you like, you know, any number of things that a wife does for a husband?
Yep.
But it's all in it's service,
Yes.
and
Servitude.
so that's the lesson, isn't it?
Yes.
Then
Yeah. And
that's
the
where
whole
we end up. All of us, we end up serving each other.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I love the team concept. And family is definitely a team and we all play a role, but we are all serving each other. And then if we can just teach our kids that too, because I think especially as teenagers, they're like, what are you doing for me? It's like, okay, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. Can I have
It
money?
does.
How are you going to earn that money? What are you going to do to
Yeah,
earn
my
that?
kids will say, you know, we're rich, and I'll say, no, we're not. I'm
No.
rich.
Yeah, exactly. We say the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and though I follow it up with, I'm rich, and I'd like to show you how to be rich, but I do not
absolutely.
want to give you money because then you'll never learn.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
even my son, you know, Sterling, he's the producer of the show. So he has a part-time position where he is earning money and understanding what that all is. His younger brother already is sitting beside him going, Dad, got a gig for me? You know,
Yeah.
is there a job here?
Oh my
Prosperity
goodness.
launched her first jewelry business, real business at 7 years old, Prosperity style jewelry.
That's
And
so
again, that's her brain is all wired around that entrepreneurship because that's normal to her. And that's the
right.
amazing gift that you guys are giving your kids. So tell me about, I want to know about the teen years and something specific that's a little
Mhm.
awkward for me to ask about. Are your kids dating?
So Hudson started dating in first grade. He actually got in trouble. He got in trouble in first grade because he brought a girl a ring and he kissed her on the playground. So he's been into girls for a very long time. I will
I
tell
didn't know a
you.
girl had a playground.
Oh yeah. I will tell you, last year, so that would have been 14, like 13 to 14, he did. He had a girlfriend and they would come and hang out at the house. But she was a little bit more mature than him in many different ways. And one day tried to like make out and do all the things in the backyard and it freaked him out. So he has not had a girlfriend since. It made
Is
him
that what they want? Oh my
very
God.
I know. It made him so uncomfortable that he was like, "I'm not having a girlfriend anymore." Um, yeah, he is
Well, going
just
into the
now
military is a good way to avoid that. That's for
right?
sure.
Yeah. Oh gosh. He's just now starting to, like, be interested in girls again. So they snap,
I
Snapchat is
think he just went and did some reconnaissance. I think he did some research and said, what's this all about? I want to be good at it.
yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he definitely was not prepared for that moment, and it made him very uncomfortable. And so, yeah, he does
It's
not
always women, isn't it? It's always
have
women getting men into trouble.
well, I don't know about that, but she knew what she wanted, that's for sure.
Well, clearly it's genetic. That's in the
Right?
family genes on both sides.
Yes, yes. And so, Brinley, she's 13 and she has 0 interest in boys, 0.
Yeah,
Um,
you believe
so
that all you want, mama.
I know, she might have a secret boyfriend that I don't know about, she is kind of secretive.
Yeah.
But, I tell Hudson, because he wanted this girl so bad, and I would tell him, "You really can't have a girlfriend until you have a job and you can take her on a date. Other than that, it's just 2 friends hanging out," and I'm okay with, like, the hangout, but them, like, going and being alone somewhere right now, just not yet. He did just get a job at McDonald's, though. So, he got sick of me saying no. "Can I
Well,
have
the
money
things
for this?"
men will
"No."
do for women, that's for sure, even McDonald's.
I mean, hey, he'll be serving her burgers out of the drive-through.
A lot of metaphors in there, that is for sure.
I just told him not to follow his dad's footsteps because I don't know if you've ever heard Cody's story about his first job at Burger King. And
No.
yeah, he would sell weed out of the drive-through. that was how he made money as an entrepreneur when he was
Oh my
16.
God.
Oh yeah. So I
Would you
told
like to be
Cody.
fried with that burger?
Yeah, exactly. And they had like a code word. Like if it was like a double without cheese, then that meant, you need a
Yeah,
dime
that's
with it.
all well and good until some cop happens to order that order.
Right? Exactly.
Oh, that is funny. I had a childhood friend of mine who, when he was 18, started working in a bong shop,
Oh, okay.
and that was a thing back in the day where they sold bongs
Yep.
and pipes and stuff. But he also sold the tobacco that went in them,
Okay.
and got busted that way. But he had the same thing going on. People would ask for a particular kind of rolling paper, and he knew that's what they were asking for. Well, it turns out that somebody asked for it one day that wasn't looking for that and
Oh
got
shoot.
busted.
Yeah, that's what happens. You always
Yeah,
get caught.
well, and I think that, again, it comes back to the idea, you talking about your daughter being innocent. Yes, I pray too, especially with the daughter even more than the sons.
Yes,
But
same.
because I know how I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The thing though that I know is that obviously we just want them to be safe. We
Yeah.
want them to be happy. We want them to be safe. We want them to be fulfilled.
Mhm.
My son Sterling is about to, and maybe I'm old fashioned, and maybe I'm a late bloomer, but he's getting ready to go on his first 5-day trip away
Okay.
without us.
Yeah.
He's going to summer camp, and I don't like the idea at all. I
Right.
love my son, and I want him to grow up, and I want him to know that I trust him. And I don't like the idea of him going away for 5 days, 5 hours away, where I can't jump in the car and rescue him if it needs to
Right.
be. And so
Right.
I went out and I got these satellite phones that they work everywhere, even without cell service. Way up in the mountains, you can do. It's like they're walkie talkies, but they're very specific
Mhm.
because that's me. I'm always looking for the contingency.
Right.
So, what are you working on today? When we get done, what's the rest of your day look like?
Yeah, it's Friday, so I'm gonna go work out,
Good.
and then I'm gonna pick the kids up from school and come home and make dinner, and then we are going to a comedy show tonight. Matt
Who are
Rife
you
is in
seeing?
town.
Oh, Matt Rife. What a great show.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really
Well,
excited.
he's gonna be hitting on you.
I mean, I got first row, so I'm kind of
Oh,
excited
you did
about.
that on purpose.
Yes, I did.
So here's the question then. What are you wearing?
Something low cut, don't worry.
Exactly. Good for you, girl. Good for you. I like people that like to have fun.
Yes, yeah,
Oh man,
I
you got to
can't
tell me
wait.
how that goes because
I will.
as a hypnotist,
Yeah,
hypnosis is boring. You saw my hypnotic show, I think, in
I
Arizona.
love it, yes.
Well, it's intrinsically boring, so it's only as good as the hypnotist, not as a hypnotist can be, but
Right.
as they can be working the crowd.
Yes,
Finding things for people to be funny about, and
yes,
that's what Rife has done so well. Is he's
agree.
figured out how to not have to be the star of his show, how to
Right.
make people in the audience the stars. So now, just like what you did, you bought front row tickets, you're showing up in a low cut top
Yeah.
just so that you can have that experience of fun and interaction, maybe, be able to improvise back and forth.
Yeah.
That's life. That's fun.
Yeah.
When I see a comic, I'm the same way. I'm going to yell something out. They're going to put me in my place and I'm going to love it.
Yes.
Because I want to wrap up on that idea. And this is a bit of a quiz, and it's market research for me.
Okay.
Things changed during the lockdowns. During the scamdemic, we 100% were locked down. I'm in the live entertainment and live seminar education business, so everything shut down. I
Yeah.
had a theater in the heart of Carlsbad, California, that also was shut down, that we lost because of COVID, because the landlord won a court case where they were ruled they'd get the back rent. And I just said, we couldn't open for a year and a half. That's crazy. I'm done.
Yeah.
So at
Wow.
any rate, now I'm looking for a new theater. And my research has shown me that theaters didn't recover. Movie theaters never recovered.
Mhm.
And they're probably not going to in the way that they were before, almost certainly not going back to what it
Right.
was in 2019. People, when the scamdemic was going on, they bought a bigger flat screen. They bought a nice recliner.
Right.
Now, movies, the studios aren't releasing as much. So the movie studios are releasing right to stream rather than into the movie houses. So now I've got all the more reason to just watch the movie at my house.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this as we were looking for space. I stumbled into a mall. I haven't been in a mall in 10 years at least. I went into a mall and I was shocked that 1/3 of the stores had nothing in them, that they were empty. And then I started thinking about it and I said, well, it makes sense. During the lockdowns, everybody started shopping more and more online.
Right.
You know, if I want my Lululemon shorts, I click a button, they're here by 3 o'clock from Amazon.
Yeah.
If I want new tech equipment, yeah, it's going to be here by tomorrow at 10 a.m. I don't have to fight at the mall. I don't have to go wander about. I don't have to do any of that. And so malls are off. So
Right.
here's my question to you.
Mhm.
You guys are going tonight to see a live show.
Mhm.
And there's no real difference in watching a movie on my flat screen or in the theater. There's people there at the theater. I have to watch it on their time. If I have to pee, I can't pause. I'm going to pay 10 times, the dollar amount for food. So there's no real benefit to seeing a movie, but the live experience, that's different.
Yeah.
So my marketing question to you, Shannon, because you're here today and we're thinking about this,
Mhm.
is do you see more movies now at home on stream, or do you make it a point and go to the movie theater? And the second part of the question is, how often do you go to the mall?
Okay. I don't even remember the last time I was in a movie theater.
Yay.
It's been so long.
But you like
Um,
movies, right?
I love movies. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't stay awake for very long, but I turn
Oh,
them
you
on.
and Erica.
Yeah, I will turn them on.
We'll watch a movie and she'll put her head on my shoulder, and then about 5 minutes later, I'll go like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's like, "Did you hypnotize me?" No.
Yeah, she blames it on me for sure.
Yeah, of course.
So you haven't been to a movie and you can't remember,
I can't even remember. It's been
but you
years.
still watch them on the stream.
Yep. I do watch them on the stream.
And then when was the last time you went to the mall, or do you go to the mall on a regular basis?
I go to the mall with my mom because that's like our thing to do, but not that often. I order online. I order through Revolve. I would
So
say
do you go substantially less than you did before the lockdowns?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my belief, and this is obviously something too Cody has to be thinking about right now, and
Mhm.
if you're involved in real estate too, I've discovered, I didn't realize this because I hadn't been to a mall in 10 years.
Sure.
The malls are all repurposing. So the malls are all going to multi-use. They're going to start building apartments and condos above Sears and JCPenney's
Interesting.
because they own the footprint. So they're going to build up.
Right. Yeah, they
But
just tore one of our malls down.
one of the other side of that is I am a mall owner. What do I need? I need traffic. People aren't coming to the movie theater that I had as an anchor there anymore, but they do. If you look at the numbers, if you go do the research, movie sales are down.
Mhm.
Live events like Matt Rife or live plays or concerts, they're up.
Sure.
What does that tell you? People are focused on the experience now
Mhm.
more than ever.
Yeah.
And if something doesn't have a substantial differentiation in the experience, meaning the movie in the movie house, yeah, it's a bigger screen.
Mhm.
There's nothing else about it other than the bigger screen that's better, though. Nothing else. The
Right.
movies they're all trying to go 4D and put vibrators in the seats, which
Yeah.
I like. I have one of those at home.
Yeah.
They're also putting misters and air blowers to blow hot and cold air on you while the
Oh my
movie's going on.
gosh.
They're
No.
doing everything they can to make it a unique experience, but I don't think they can.
No, I don't either.
And then the other piece on the mall is the reason they're doing multi-purpose and multi-use on the malls is if I am hungry at 10 o'clock and I'm at home, what do? Uber Eats.
Yeah.
But if I know that I'm a half a block away from a food court,
Right.
I'll just walk down there and get my food.
Right. Yeah.
I think the malls are doing that to build in traffic.
That's
So,
a great concept. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
so do you find yourself going to the mall at all by yourself?
No. No. The
You
only
just go
thing
online, don't you?
Yeah, and now it's free shipping back. So it's like you get it,
Oh,
you try
God.
it on, you can send it back for
You and
free.
Erica need to hang out. You do.
Yes, I know. All the boxes that show up. Don't worry. I'm
Yeah,
still
it's
in
magic. I have
return.
no idea. They must really love us at Amazon.
Yeah, weird.
Hey, I've loved having you on the show. You are amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Is there any last things you want to tell the audience and any place you want to send them to find out more about you?
Yeah. My Instagram is Dr. Shannon Lee _. I would love to hear from you. DM me. I am always open to collaborate. I love facilitating for any kind of event. I've done all things from masterminds to hair extensions to outdoor retreats. So I'm here to serve. Reach out, and I would love to connect. Thank you.
Awesome. And also, you can find more out about Shannon at shannonsperber.com,
Yes,
shannonsperber.com. And look at how great my producer is. He's
I
right
know.
on the money.
You
He's right
got
on.
it.
Yeah,
Go
he's amazing.
Sterling, go.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yes.
It's one of those things that I grew up on a farm, and kids, they start working. I had a full-time job, 40 to 60 hours a week at 10 years old.
Wow.
And Sterling, you're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
You can say hello.
Hi, Sterling.
I heard his audio just went live. At any rate, so I grew up knowing you got to get a job early on. I believe that we have done a disservice to our kids by creating this thing called adolescence.
Yeah.
So many times people say, "Let kids be kids," and I
Right.
know you guys don't do it, and I know we certainly don't do it. No, I want my kids to be adults
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I want them to be people now. I want them to be if they want something new, I want them to say, "How do I earn it?"
Yeah.
Not, "Daddy, can I have this?" Because then they're victims. Then they have to please me and be on my good side to get anything they want. I want them to know, no, don't let me be your gatekeeper. Be your
Yeah.
own gatekeeper
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. And learn how to function in society
and be happy.
and be happy.
Yeah, that's ultimately it. Do you and your new guy get to Southern California at all?
Oh, yeah. We do. We love it. We're going to be in Newport for 4th of July.
You have my cell phone number. You make sure
I
that if you
do.
guys are driving through or coming near San Diego, you
Okay.
reach out and connect. I would love to grab a dinner
Absolutely.
with the two of you.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're awesome. God bless. Thanks for being on
Okay.
the show. You take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
We've been having lots of fun. Thanks again, Shannon Sperber. You're awesome. I appreciate the quality of our guests. I have been getting lots and lots and lots of questions about when are we going to start doing live questions on the show again. And the answer is soon. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. Monday, we're going to do a pre-recorded show. If we're on the air, we're contemplating, we're going to talk about it today because Monday is Sterling's birthday celebration. And we are going to Six Flags Magic Mountain. We're excited about that. If you haven't been to Six Flags or any of the Six Flags properties, they're primarily roller coasters. There's a lot of roller coasters. And every single one of them has a sign at the beginning that says, if you've had any heart conditions, don't go on this ride. So I don't know if my son's request to go to Six Flags Magic Mountain and his question about is he included in my life insurance policies. I don't know if they were connected, but he did ask them right at the same time. So at any rate, we're going to start as soon as next week, maybe Tuesday, but maybe the following week, taking your calls. In the meantime, I am going to take a couple of emails we've received here at Studio Money. Michael Chen runs a family-owned restaurant that survived generational shifts and economic downturns. With the landscape of challenges continuously evolving, he's seeking insights into the current major hurdles businesses face and strategies to navigate these effectively. His question is, what's the biggest challenges facing businesses today, and how can they be overcome? I guess his family owns a restaurant. This is a question that is coming up a lot these days. And in fact, we were just talking about it. Everything's changed. And so every business owner needs to ask themselves, how has my business changed? And how can we do business differently? I had the phenomenal blessing of being around a man who reinvented an entire holiday, Halloween, in the United States. And his ability to be cutting edge, to think ahead and see where the puck was going was instrumental in forming what I believe is the foundation of any successful business. You take a look at Uber is a really good example. Google, another good example. Facebook, even over MySpace, another good example. And you take a look at these businesses, and when you say, how did they succeed? Why did they succeed? What was the catalyst that allowed them to have the success that they had? I remember the day that Mike Filsame of internet marketing fame, Groove, and all the Groove products, Ever Webinar, he invented that platform as well. I remember one day Mike Filsame was at my home And he was getting ready to leave. And I said, jump in the car. I'll take you to the airport. He said, no, I'll just call an Uber. And I said, what's an Uber? And he pulled out his phone and he clicked on an app and he said, there's somebody coming to pick me up. I said, who's picking you up? He said, I don't know. I said, why are they picking you up? He said, because they were just driving around the area looking for someone to pick up. I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I couldn't figure out, how does this work? Well, obviously now when we go to a new city, we rarely rent a car. So car rentals have changed. We rarely rent a car because if you rent a car, what do you have to do? You have to find parking. You have to do everything. You have to return the car when you're done with your trip and the experience. My wife and I are getting ready to go on a date. When we go on the date, it's in downtown. When we go on the date, I won't drive because if I drive, I've got to find a place to park. I've got to go back to the parking lot after we go on our date, if we go to dinner or a show and all those things. An Uber, will it cost me a little bit more? Only a little bit, not even that much. And more than that, it's easy. And I think that once again, coming back to that idea, what can I do to make it easy? People are paying more for a better experience. We were talking about movie theaters, and movie theaters are doing everything they can to make the movie attending experience, not the movie itself, but the attendance, the experience of the movie as good as they can. Putting the vibrators underneath the seats, putting the Dolby sound right in the armrest, putting the misters with water or flame or heat or wind or whatever it is. If you go to the Sphere in Las Vegas, it's all built into that. But they also built this multi-billion-dollar dome IMAX screen all around you for a better experience. So we went to the Sphere to enjoy the experience. We didn't see U2 there. We happened to be there while a movie, Postcards from the Edge, was playing. So we rented a suite. We had full-time, caretaker, bartender, waiter, uh, food all there in the suite. Remarkable. It was beautiful. And then we had the experience in our chairs where we didn't have to fight with anybody because I like a better experience. The seats did everything they could. The seats had heat, they had wind, they had scent, they had, they moved, they tipped, everything a chair could possibly do to put me in the middle of that movie, that chair did. Do I want to see every single movie that way? I don't. Um, there's a point where it's overwhelmed. I want to watch a movie to watch a movie. Is 3D fun? Yes, once in a while. Would it be fun every single movie that I viewed? Not for me. Maybe I'm old fashioned. Maybe my kids might like, to wear a headset and have that completely immersive experience. I don't. I just don't. So, what can you do to make your business thrive? What challenges are businesses doing today? Here's the challenge you must overcome. You've got to figure out a way that whatever it is you offer, business, service, product, idea, whatever it is you offer, you're the only one offering it in the way that you offer it. You want to be first to market. So in the Halloween shop example, after my boss, Chuck Martinez, my mentor, launched the Halloween shops in all the Sears stores, a competing brand came along and launched it in all the J.C. Penney's stores. Uh, he ended up selling his business and going into the costume manufacturing business, which allowed him to do business with everybody that had stolen his concept. But once again, where is the business going? You've got to go to where the puck is going, not where the puck is today. So the question I would ask as a restaurateur, because that's who Michael Chen is, Michael, the question I would ask myself is, what makes my restaurant an experience, not just a dining experience? Yes, your food must be excellent in this day and age of online votes and rating and Yahoo ratings and what's the name of the other restaurant Yelp ratings. In this day and age, you've got to be concerned with all that, but it's not enough. That's why more and more people, more and more restaurants are hiring waiters that are Salt Bay, dropping the salt off their arm on your steak, or you'll be having guacamole and they bring the guacamole tray over and they flip the ingredients in the air and they make the guacamole right there. They could have done that in the kitchen. Why didn't they do it in the kitchen? Because that's not what you're buying. You're buying tableside guacamole. You want to see it made. That's why you buy the dessert that's a flambe and sparks flying from the cinnamon, and you're buying a better experience. So I believe the businesses that are going to thrive in the next 5 years for sure, and who knows what AI and everything else is going to do with our life experience in general. But I think the businesses that focus on a better experience, a secret entrance into the restaurant, you've got to walk through an old fashioned phone booth, or you've got to knock 3 times and a little door opens to the speakeasy. I think that restaurants that also stop and say, how do we make this decor more interesting? Doesn't have to be over the top, doesn't have to be expensive. Surely it could be LED screens all around so that every course that you're brought has a different image on the walls. That would be fascinating. There's a restaurant in Vegas that does just that and charges $190 on a prefix menu, meaning you can't even choose what you want to eat. But the environment and the food and the presentation and every dish comes out looking like $1 billion. I'm paying now not just for the food, I'm paying for the experience, the videos that I can post on social media, the ability to talk about it later on with my friends that weren't there and the friends that were there and have something to talk about. I think no matter what you're doing, you have to take a look at value added. You have to say to yourself, okay, what else might my customer want? Because the most expensive thing in any business is customer acquisition. And the most profitable area in any business is existing customers. What else could I sell to my existing customers? Amazon has built an entire business on the idea of, hey, people that bought this would also buy that. And all the profit, all the money, all the margin is in the upsell. That's an extra piece of profit at no extra cost that you would have had. We're doing we're putting together a proposal right now for a business that's a value added business. We're looking for strategic partners, and our pitch is real simple. We will guarantee you the money you're already making, so you'll have no downside risk. And we will give you this potential for a 10 or 20 or 30x on what you're already earning with all upside potential, no downside risk whatsoever. So you've got to figure out ways to find and create strategic alliances with customers. What is that? It's somebody with your avatar customer that isn't competing with you. And even sometimes those that are competing with you. In other words, I can't go to the same restaurant every single night, no matter how good the food and experience is, but I do go to restaurants. So a strategic alliance with my flat out competitor straight across the street would actually be something really smart. Why? It's right across the street. So the people that geographically came to my restaurant might also go to that restaurant. And if they go to that restaurant and I don't profit, then I don't profit. But if I give them a coupon that every time they show up at my competitor across the street restaurant on my coupon, I get paid a kickback, I get paid a bounty, then yeah, now it's value added. Not only that, now I'm capturing more and more of the psyche of my customer by saying, look, this area right here where my restaurant is the best area for you to think about next time you're thinking about going out because of all the options. More and more food courts, right around the corner from our home on the beach. There's this old pea soup Anderson that had the giant windmill. You remember them, had the giant windmill. They're now a food court. So the whole idea, the malls used to have food courts, and the people that put their restaurants in the malls had to pay premium retail per square foot rent on that. Well, somebody got smart and said, let me find a piece of real estate, commercial real estate that's not being utilized, and let's put in a whole bunch of mini restaurants. And because their footprint is smaller, they don't have to pay quite as much because there's such a selection of restaurants there at that food court. I go there with my family. My kids can get pizza. My wife can get pho. I can get dim sum. My buddies can get Mexican food, all in the same place. We can all sit down at the picnic table right there inside that restaurant and all have different meals, but all have it at the same time together. So it's an idea of figuring out, how do I make the experience better? Is there a way for me to sell memberships that are a deeper connection? If I'm a restaurant, do I have guarantee? Can I sell a membership that guarantees me availability? In other words, I pay $500 a year to be a member of this restaurant, and I can get a reservation at just about any time I want to for a limited number of people, up to 4 people, or a bigger membership gives me, if it's a business membership, 10 people guaranteed. I call you at 6 o'clock with an hour notice. You can get me and my party of 10 in 1 hour, guaranteed, because I have the membership. Would I pay for that? If it's a popular restaurant, absolutely. If it's a place I go to more than 5 times a year, absolutely. If I don't have to hassle with being told, oh, we can't get you in tonight, or we can't get you in till 10 o'clock. Yes. So what's the value add? What's the value add? What makes my experience more unique? What strategic alliance relationships can I be looking at right now? There's a lot of speakers who speak and trainers who train who don't know how to monetize in the way that I have in the course of my career. I've done over $600 million, which in and of itself should impress you. Why? Because I told you it should. But it should more impress you the fact that it's been part-time and on my terms. It wasn't, crushing it out, making sure I was maximizing, squeezing every dime out of my business. It was just me living my life, being happy, doing over $600 million in business. So a lot of times people that are in the business don't know how we monetize at 10, 15, $20,000 per head. And I tell them it's an area of expertise. It's just something that we know how to do. And so while they do an event and maybe do $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 per head with 100 people and end up making $300,000 with that same 100 people, we do $1 million or $2 million bucks. So once again, how are you unique? Are you looking for unique strategic alliance relationships that you can both support each other? I tell people this all the time. If I'm in the seminar business, my competition, people in a similar business to me, they're not really my competition. My customers are going to buy from them, guaranteed. It's not competition. They're going to buy from the people that do things similar to me. The only question is, do I get paid when they do? And so for that reason, I like affiliate relationships. I like strategic alliance relationships because everybody wins. So if it were me, I would instantly say, what do we do to create an alliance here in this area? Carlsbad, California is a little village, but a big community, meaning the village of Carlsbad is not that big. Maybe it's 10 square blocks. But the city of Carlsbad village is much, much, much broader. When the lockdowns occurred, and most of us in the village said, this is insane, this is political, it doesn't make any sense. You forced me to shut my business down, but Costco is thriving. Walmart is thriving. The big boxes are doing just fine. You didn't force them to shut down, just us, which was an agenda, by the way. That's another show. But what the local restaurateurs in Carlsbad did, they all got together and said, we're all going to open up at once. I wanted to open my theater. I was told specifically by the police chief that if you open, Marshall, we're going to have to arrest you. So we didn't open. But the restaurants all opened and said, it is our First Amendment right of free speech to say what we want to say. We welcome you to our restaurant. You're not required to wear a mask. You're not required to be vaccinated. Please come in. They all got together and did it at once. Well, it was the beginning of the end for the bureaucracy because they couldn't arrest everybody. They didn't have room in the jail. And so the restaurants opened back up. The illusion started breaking, and here we are today. So once again, create strategic alliances and find a way to make sure that you are unique and that your experience, not just your food, not just your service, that's an expectation. That's ground level expectation. That better exist, but how are you different? Do you do something a little bit different? Do you make me feel special? Do you give me a discount I don't think you're giving to everybody else on my food? Do you give me a free dessert, or do you know my name? Is there a special place card in place when I sit down? Am I treated like a celebrity from the second I walk through the door? Do you have a stand and repeat? Do you have a photographer for people coming in that you just snap that photo and drop it off complimentary, or email it to them because there's no cost to you other than the photographer standing there who might just work for tips? Do you have a magician going table to table so that I know not only do I get entertainment Not only do I get food when I come to your restaurant, I get entertainment included as well for the price of a tip. All those things go into being. Next question. I'll answer maybe one, maybe two more. I'm feeling rather generous. Remember, we're going to start taking your calls and your questions live again. Cash giveaways, silver giveaways, potential Mercedes-Benz and Rolls-Royce giveaways coming up very soon. This question is from Laura Kim. She's a recent MBA graduate. She has a drafting business. No, forgive me. She's drafting a business plan for a startup that focuses on ethical fashion. She's convinced that corporate social responsibility should be a core element, but needs to articulate its importance and benefits to potential investors convincingly. So her question is, how important is corporate social responsibility for modern businesses? Laura, great question. How important is corporate social responsibility for modern businesses? That's a deep question and actually is a number of questions all at once. So I'm going to answer it bluntly first, then a little more in depth, and then what I think you're actually asking me. How important is corporate social responsibility for modern businesses? Not at all. And here's my reasoning on that. Business, by definition, is to make money. That's what a business is. How important is it for modern businesses? Still not at all. I could be the most corporately, socially responsible business in existence. And if my priority isn't figuring out how to make money, I will be in business until all the tree huggers and all the Birkenstock wearing, peace, incense burning people decide that they no longer can support my cause just because there's not enough of them and I go out of business. So that's first and foremost. You need to understand if you're launching a business, and anybody that doesn't tell you this is not being honest with you. So I'd rather you looked at me and thought I was a jerk and didn't listen to my show anymore because I didn't give you an answer you liked, rather than tell you the answer that I think you're looking for. So, secondly, the question has to be, how important is corporate social responsibility then to profits? Again, I can believe in something, I can stand for something, it can be vastly important to me, but if it's the most important thing to me, then chances are it's going to override making profits and I'm going to be out of business eventually. So here's the second answer to the question. Yes, it is important from a PR and a perception point of view. Yeah, I'd like to think that you're responsible socially, that you make sure that you are inclusive, that you are respectful, that you are paying attention to what's important to us as a human society as a whole. I pray all those things are important to you. The challenge becomes, is it going to kill your business or not? And is the appearance of being those things being important to you, is it helping the business? Because it only helps to a degree. What do I mean by that? Paper straws in California. Stupid idea because they're packed in a plastic wrapper. What a dumb idea. And even if they weren't packed in a plastic wrapper, if I was just handed the paper straw, what am I putting it in? Probably a paper cup. At the very least, or excuse me, probably a plastic cup. Even if the cup is paper, the lid's probably plastic because they don't really make lids out of paper because they get soggy and there's no point, it still spills. So at some point in that consumption of that beverage, there's plastic there. Stupid idea, but California embraced it completely. As far as I know, there were even laws made. You can't have paper, you can't have plastic straws because it's polluting the ocean. No, the plastic bucket is polluting the ocean. The plastic tub, the rubber waste, the chemical waste, that's what's polluting my ocean, not my freaking plastic straw. That's so far down the chain, it is not worthy of your attention unless you're paying attention to everything else. And then finally, your answer to the question, how important is corporate social responsibility to modern businesses? Your business is focused on ethical fashion. So that is your mission statement. I mean, that is the thing that causes a portion of the population to vote with their wallets for you and your fashion line rather than another fashion line. Yes, it is posturing. And that is, I realize that you, Laura, are socially responsible. You want to create ethical fashions. I'm guessing what you mean is fashions not created in a sweatshop, stuff not done with exactly what I described as the first and foremost thing important in a business, making money as the first and foremost thing. So yeah, for your business, as your brand goes, yeah, a portion of every single dollar that we earn here is given to the rainforest. 10 cents from every purchase that you make is put toward stopping child sex trafficking. All those things are important. All those things are good. All those things are very admirable and can be a headline, can be a marquee, can certainly be top billing for you as far as promoting your business. Do not forget, though, your business must make money. And this is a good one. Last question of the day, because it's in alignment with everything we've been talking about. How can businesses adapt to rapidly changing market trends? Priya Singh. Priya owns a boutique digital marketing agency that's faced the brunt of rapidly shifting online consumer behaviors. She seeks effective ways to keep her business agile and responsive to market trends without constantly overhauling her business model. I think it comes back to one simple concept: communication equals wealth. I'm not getting paid for this show. And I told myself that I would keep doing the show for 90 days, regardless of the outcome. Even if nobody watched it, I'd keep doing it for 90 days as a test to see if it was fun for me, to see if anybody even cared. I'm not going to be so vain I think you care about what I had to say. I'm not even going to be so vain to think you think I'm smart. It doesn't matter. You're going to think what you think anyway, and I'm going to think what I think anyway. And the bottom line is, though, in business, in life, communication equals wealth. We communicate in two ways and two ways only: internally, the 1,500 words per minute going through our brain, telling us who we are and who we aren't, what we can be, what we can do, what we can have. Communication to the outside world is called influence. Everything that you want that you don't have, you're going to get from other people. And it's your ability to communicate with other people in a way that inspires them that will determine whether or not you get what you want. If you're not getting what you want, you've got to change your communication. And when you change that approach, you change everything. Look for the thing that will make you unique. Look for the thing that will cause people to think of you top of mind. And then remember, spark rate is your ability to move, adapt, and change quickly. I'm Marshall Sylver. I trust you've enjoyed this edition of Marshall Sylver Live. As I said, Monday, we may be on pause. We haven't decided yet. If not, we're going to play a pre-recorded show on Monday. Be sure to tune in. Check us out anyway for that. And as I said, very soon we will return to taking your calls live and also giving away both silver and cash on a daily basis. You are totally loved. You have an awesome, awesome, awesome weekend. I trust that you are recognizing we are in this thing together, so celebrate life. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned.